I'm going to tell you guys a story. The story about Zima Blue. So, there's this show on Netflix called Love, Death, and Robots. And there was a specific episode in this anthology series that really stood out to me called Zima Blue. Now, let's begin. So, the story starts off introducing a reporter getting ready to meet with a really famous artist. This artist being named Zima. And this artist specifically requested this reporter to come interview him after years, centuries of having zero interviews and refusing to do these interviews. So we already see the importance of this meeting and this interview as the reporter is narrating this episode. And we get to seeing the explanation about who Zima is, who this artist is. It's this artist who has created amazing murals, paintings, to the point where his murals became ginormous, planetary size, just amazing sights to see. Something that doesn't really exist now, but maybe in hundreds of years, centuries from now, will exist, you know? And with each painting, obviously much more beautiful than the last, something more meaningful. But one day, he started to add something to his paintings that was kind of odd. It was this blue square, a blue square in the middle of the painting. And with each mural, with each painting, the bigger it got, this square, to the point where he created a painting that was only this color of blue until he started making planetary murals, murals that are the size of planets. He's spray painting asteroids, and we have people in space. You have to go to space just to view what this mural is, and it's just the same shade of blue. So once the reporter arrives and meets with the artist Zima, he invites her to come see something. And she shows him a swimming pool, empty swimming pool. And he tells her, "This is going to be my last work of art. And I'm going to tell you a story of why." So before this, the reporter informs us that Zima himself, while making these murals, he goes through a lot of cybernetic enhancements. He's this human that goes through these enhancements so he can sustain and go through harsh weather conditions and environments. And he explores the cosmos in search of purpose, and he explores his art and explores the universe into aiding and creating his art and finding out the purpose in his life and what really makes him him. And so, yeah, he's getting all these cybernetic enhancements and he becomes who he is today. And so he's ready to give the interview to this reporter. And he says, "Let me tell you a little backstory." So there was one day, there was this girl way centuries ago, who was very smart in the robotics field. She would create all these different types of robots that would do a lot of housework. Example, washing the dishes, cleaning the house, painting the house. And one specific robot that she took a liking to specifically was the robot that would clean her swimming pool. And over time, she would see, you know what, like, I feel like this robot could do a better job. So she gave it some cybernetic upgrades so it could see shades of blue and shades of different colors. So it could perfectly clean this pool, see like, oh, you know what, this shade's a little off, maybe it's a little dirtier. And over the years, she would use this robot as a basis to test cybernetic enhancements. And so she would keep enhancing it, till one day she dies and it's passed on to other people and they enhance it. So eventually it becomes a little robot that cleans swimming pools to a robot that is painting, doing gardening, cooking, cleaning of all sorts, to the point where it is enhanced so much and upgraded so much that it is basically human, and it gains this sort of intelligence. And you don't even realize that with all these cybernetic enhancements and upgrades, we think about, at what point does a machine can be considered as life? Start thinking about that. And the plot twist in this story is Zima reveals that he is the little swimming pool robot, and that who he is now is after centuries of upgrades, to the point where he's even forgotten that he used to be a little swimming pool robot. He can't even remember who he was when he first started. And so he tells her, "This is my last art piece, and I want you to record this interview." So goes past, and goes to the future. He's doing his last show, opens the swimming pool to a crowd, shows them the blue of it all. And the reason why the reason why he was so keen on adding the shade of blue to all his murals, to his name being Zima, and the importance of this blue, is because the shade of blue represents the first color he saw when he was a little robot getting his first little upgrade, which was Zima blue, which is the manufacturer's shade of blue of the swimming pool. And so he dives into the pool, and slowly he tells us that he shuts off his higher brain functions. He's disintegrating, and to the point where all the enhancements come off, and he becomes the little swimming pool robot once again, cleaning the swimming pool, where the only function in his brain is being satisfied by a task well done. And that's the end of the story. And I don't know what it is, but this story really got me thinking. And I think it's very, I don't want to say ironic, but I think it says something, that a story about a robot or AI, especially in this time of this like day and age, story about a robot getting all these cybernetic upgrades, kind of shows us the meaning of life, you know? Because if you look at the story that I just told you and compare it to a human's life, it's like we start out as babies with nothing, not knowing all the knowledge that we have now, all the brain functions that we have now, all the bodily enhancements that we have now in our bodies. We are simply little baby who laughs at simple things, smiles at the sight of our loved ones, and cries at the slightest inconvenience. And it just kind of shows like we are that little robot, you know? Simple things in life, like seeing our loved ones, that make us smile. But over time, we go through stuff. We become more intelligent. We grow older. We learn things about life. We got to deal with more things in life, and everything becomes so much more overstimulating. And we live in such an overstimulating world with technology and phone addictions and drug addictions and just things on screens, people telling you this, people telling you that. And there's just so much noise that is hard to filter through nowadays. And I feel like we live in an age where everybody is depressed and anxious and confused because there's just so much information that our brains can't really handle, to be honest with you. And we become unhappy. And so we, just like Zima, we are in search of our purpose. We're in search of what is the true meaning of life? What can make us happy? What do I need to do to become satisfied? Do I need to have a successful career? Once you get that successful career, are you satisfied? No, you want to make a certain amount of money. Once you make that $1 billion, $1 million, what's next? It's always what's next with us. Once we get something, the value of something always like decreases once we get it, and then so we have a hunger to seek more. We always have that unsatisfaction within us, and we're always trying to seek more, you know? But maybe this story of this robot is telling us to stop seeking for more, because what we already have and what we already need is within us, you know? The simple things in life, seeing your loved ones and just smiling at that fact, you know? Maybe just living a simple life is enough. A simple life of being around people we love, doing things that we just like to do. That's enough, you know? And honestly, me personally, that is something I have learned throughout this year specifically of my 24 years of living, because I recently moved, not recently, I guess it's been over a year since I moved to a brand new city. I moved to Toronto from Winnipeg last year around August. And I have changed into a completely different person, because starting from zero is probably the most humbling experience and one of the hardest experiences that I've ever gone through. You know, I came to a different city, brand new, didn't really know many people, and had nothing, just the clothes on our backs, my girlfriend who moved with me. And it was just us navigating this new place, new environment with nothing. And once you strip down your life to just the simplest things that you have every day, and not having a TV, not having all these devices, not having a lot of things, it gets you really thinking and appreciating, like, okay, well, what do I have that does make me happy, you know? And you realize that you don't need much, honestly, in this life, because everything we need can be broken down to the simplest things. Everything that we own and stuff and is just, they just aid in what we think, like our personal needs. So let's say I need social needs because I like to be around people and I love people. What gives me that is being around people I love, and being able to speak with them. But the tools that allow that to make it easier are my phone or my laptop. It allows me to communicate with them, you know? And I think that with this age of technology, with these devices that can help us, they can also do other things. And I think we stop seeing the true purpose of certain things we use on a daily basis, and start getting distracted and we start to browse through social media, and now we're starting to be flooded with opinions that you probably shouldn't be listening to. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like our human brains aren't built to be listening to 100 opinions a day, thousands of opinions. If you're on Twitter, you're scrolling through hundreds of opinions that you don't even agree with every single day. And it's not, I don't want to say manipulating, but it's definitely getting you thinking about certain decisions, certain morals that you have in your life. And because we're on social media all the time, we have hundreds of people in our ear telling us certain things, telling us we should do this, telling us we should do that, telling us that we need to be this certain age to be successful, telling us that, oh, we're getting too old to be successful, telling us that we need this product to be happy, telling us we need to do this to be happy, telling us we need this job to be happy, we need to be with these type of women to be happy, we need to be cautious about things to be happy, we need to do all these things that everybody's telling us to be happy, when really the simplest form of happiness is within you already. And when you really look and strip down, just like Zima, strip all the enhancements, strip away everything that we already know to the most basic functions, love is really just what makes us happy, in my opinion. You know, not just a love for our loved ones, our family, our friends, our relationships, but just a love for life. You know, Because I think there's just something so beautiful about having nothing is really everything. You know, you don't need anything to be happy because you already have it within you. There's a beauty in learning that everything that we build and work up to because we think it's going to make us happy is actually just a distraction from what actually does. And I feel like I'm a broken record repeating myself over and over, but I just can't emphasize enough the lesson with the story and the lesson that I've learned this past year that really all we need is we already have it. And I think loving life and loving yourself is some of the most important things that we should be focusing on. I don't need to be focusing on, not that I don't need to be focusing on having a good career, but those things, all these other superficial things that we think we need, being a millionaire and all this stuff, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. You know, money, the only thing money brings is opportunities and security. You know, I'm not saying money is not important because if you have money, you got health care. If you got money, your family's okay. If you have money, you got food on the table, you know? But I'm saying in the sense of excess, you know? If we have enough money to, you know, eat, be healthy, take care of ourselves, you know, have a shelter, a roof above our heads, and still do things that we love, I feel like that's enough. You know, living simple has definitely been something that I've come to realize that I really just want. Simple life. You know, and I know it's very contradictory to kind of my last episode of Listen to Me as Background Noise because I was talking about all my dreams, you know, and this doesn't like coincide with that, you know, like it's okay to have dreams, it's okay to have ambition as long as you remember that those things can make you super happy, but they'll never satisfy you and that you should already be satisfied, you know? You should never have reaching a goal or reaching these dreams be the benchmark or be the reason why you're happy. Be happy now. You're allowed to be happy now. You're allowed to appreciate and love now. You don't have to wait for validation. You don't have to wait for successes. You don't have to wait for riches. You don't have to wait for your dreams to come true to be happy now. You know, and people say that, oh, like what's our purpose in this world? They always ask, what is our purpose? Is it to inspire people? Is it to do all these extravagant things? Is it to become the superstar to inspire others and tell people stories and leave a legacy in this world? Like me personally, I believe that our purpose is to just exist. And we choose how we want to exist, you know? But like really breaking down to the heart of it is our satisfaction. And I feel like existing and being alive should already make you satisfied because we only got one of these lives and we were blessed to be given it for free. You know, I always say time is the most valuable currency, and we are blessed to have it for free. And just being a being and having time in this world and being able to spend it however we want, and that's already a blessing in itself, and that should satisfy you enough, you know? I'm not saying, oh, you should not have to do anything anymore in your life because it doesn't matter because like we should already be happy. Like, no, like obviously it's okay. Go get your dream. Do whatever you want. I'm saying that like don't rely on other things that's not within you to be happy. You should already be happy. All these goals, all these dreams, they will make you happier, of course. But being satisfied and being content and having peace, that comes here. You know, I feel like that's like the whole thing of everybody searching for peace, nirvana, satisfaction. We're always looking for it somewhere else, but really we already have it. And like I said, I keep I keep just saying the same thing over and over different ways, but I can't emphasize enough that lesson that I've learned this year. You know, and I've gone through some shit this year, man. I've been wealthy, I've been broke, and I feel like the happiest I ever am is whenever I'm broke, and don't have much, because I start to see that, like, okay, once you're broke, I've been broke my whole life. You know, I've there's points where I've had negative owings, getting fucking non-sufficient funds, insufficient funds at the cash, getting those non-sufficient fund fees in the bank. I've had $0. I've had negative thousands of dollars. I've been up thousands. I've gone through it all. I've gone through the fluctuations. I've been broke. I've been wealthier. I've been broker. I've been even wealthier. I feel like I'm at a good balance now. And the happiest I am is not necessarily when I have nothing, when I'm broke. Obviously, that comes with a whole lot of stresses, especially if you're paying bills and you're an adult and you got shit to worry about. But what I'm saying is, when we're stripped down to not having an excess of something and just enough, and you feel like you have nothing really, that's when you really see that you have everything. You know, at this point, this year in my life, there's so many instances where I've gone through some crazy, crazy periods of just I don't want to say depression, maybe. Yeah. Some points of depression, anxiety, because I always feel like I need to be catching up. I always feel like I don't have enough. I always feel like I'm always trying to think, what's the next step for me, you know? Especially being a content creator full time. I kind of programmed my brain to rely on the internet for validation, and it kind of sucked that it was like that for a bit. I'm not going to lie to you guys, but you guys can't really blame me, like, especially my job being this full time and it being my livelihood and me depending on it to be alive and be able to live here and do things I want to do and support my girlfriend and support my family and support my dreams. It does put a lot of pressure, Those views, those numbers start to feel like everything, start to feel like your life, start to feel like you need more to become more successful, to become more happy. But I feel like I've started to learn and unlearn certain lessons. And I think it's okay to unlearn certain things and unlearn things that we've picked up along the road. We don't have to have everything stick with us for the rest of our lives. If we learn something and we kind of figure out that we kind of want to unlearn those lessons and they don't really resonate with us anymore, then it's okay. And I'm definitely at that point where I've unlearned a lot of things and taught myself and learned through being an adult, being by myself, being in states of feeling like I have nothing. I've learned a lot. And I think one of the responsibilities of learning and simply just realizing things in your life is to share it with other people. Because you never know what you say on the internet or what you say to a person can really impact their lives in a way. No glaze to myself, no self glaze. But I definitely have those instances where people will come up to me years later, or people will come to me now and be like, hey, like, you've said something to me and that really stuck. I will always remember it. Or I will be mid conversation with somebody and they tell me, like, yeah, honestly, like, remember when you said this? And they tell me this thing. It's like, yeah, like, it really helped me in life. And like, I don't even remember what I said to them, but it helped them in some way. And I'm always glad to have helped somebody. And this isn't even just fans. Like, of course, I get the DMs from some fans saying like, hey, your outfits, videos really inspired my style, or your videos about life really changed the way I look at things, and the way you look at life really changed my perspective on life and all this stuff. But really the ones that resonate with me a lot has been the ones with my friends and my family. And I don't know why, maybe that why it resonates more. Maybe because I know them personally, and because I feel like when you have friends and family and you talk to them and you have these conversations with them, you can just know each other so much and you have multiple conversations that you don't, not necessarily they don't mean anything anymore, but I feel like the meaning of those conversations, you don't really see as much because you have it so often with certain people. Kind of like, for example, like, you talk to, let's say you talk to your mom every day, you know, and she gives you some wisdom. It becomes to a point where like, ah, man, mom's just lecturing it again. Mom's just preaching again. Like, I know. But then when you don't talk to your mom for a long time and you finally get to talk and she spits some wisdom, you really appreciate it. But like, why is it that we appreciate it when it's been some time compared to the time where she talks to us every day and she's been saying the same thing, you know? And I don't know where I was going with that. I had lost my train of thought. But damn, ADHD moment for real. I felt like I was speaking some truth there, not gonna lie. But fuck. Anyways, what was I saying? But yeah, anyway, just meaningful conversation, and just like, you never know. Like, that's why I always encourage people to just say your truth. Just say how you feel. Talk about how you feel. Don't talk about how others feel. Don't talk about others' ideologies. Speak how you feel from the heart, because you never know whose life you'll affect, whose life you'll touch with your words. You know what I mean? Because like I said, there's been times where I don't even remember what I've said to people, and they've come up to me and said like, "Hey, this is life changing to me." And this is why I'm making this. This is why I do these episodes, because I like to inspire. I like to like share my lessons. I like to just yap and talk, because not even just for people who may benefit from it and may learn something from it, not even just for the entertainment, but for myself. Because like I said, like, this whole journey of episodic, or not episodic, but this whole journey of posting these videos is also for me, excuse me, to document my thought process and to document how I think at this age. Because 5 years from now, I could go back to my old videos and think, damn, this was the mindset I was thinking. 10 years from now, I could think completely different and become a completely different person and have different morals and different thoughts. But I don't like to think about the future, you know? And so recording it now and just having it out there and just having a record of me. This is my history. This is like memories from myself to my future kids, to future viewers who want to see how I started or where I was at this age, you know? YouTube is, I'm going to say hot take. 1 second. I stopped drinking Coke because I have a really bad Coca-Cola problem. Started drinking Coke Zero just as a substitute. Everybody's saying, oh, it's the same. It's not the same. It's not the same. All right. It tastes good. I'm not going to lie. It tastes good. But it's not the same. All right. Coca-Cola is still better. But Coke Zero, it does the job. Anyways, what I was saying is, decades from now, I think YouTube is going to be the most important resource that we have in history. It's going to be the new library. You know, we're going to have so much information on people, things, history, memory. YouTube is like the biggest brain possible. And like, if we implemented YouTube into a robot as its intelligence, it would know like everything. Because think about what we put on YouTube: tutorials, conspiracy theories, history, data on ourselves, just how to do things, how to write, emotional guides, TED Talks, everything. Like, if a robot had all this information, it would be freaking unstoppable. I can't even fathom how intelligent it would be. from just YouTube alone. And I think YouTube is just this library of knowledge and greatness and legacy and memories. And that's why I want to utilize it, because my brain can only remember so much. My brain can only handle so much. And even in future generations, I can only write so much about my life and tell these stories, and I might misremember stuff. So YouTube has become this library of memories. I think that's like the true purpose of what YouTube is. As much as it is the new TV, the new entertainment, it's really just a library of memories, you know, our thoughts, our thought processes, because you can go back and look at like 2016 YouTube, completely different era. The world was so different. The slang was different. The thought process, the fashion, the creators, everything was so different. And then you can look back at even further, the beginnings of YouTube, 2008 era, like How to Be Ninja Ryan Higa era. The world was so different. The thoughts were so different. The fashion was so different. The music, life is just so different the more we go along. Years and years and years, it just keeps changing. And people always say like, "Oh, you remember it that way? I didn't remember that way." But the proof is there. If you go on like YouTube and search up a video from whatever time period you're looking for, it's easy to misremember stuff. That's the thing. I feel like that's where Mandela effects come in play, where a lot of Mandela effects I feel like maybe is just misremembering certain details. And I feel like YouTube is just a catalog of showing you those small details. And so this is for me, this is my documentation of who I was, who I am now, for the future me. Future me is watching this right now. I don't know how many years it's been. Maybe it could be next year, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. I don't know what kind of person you are right now, but 24-year-old you is trying his best. He's trying to figure out life, the meaning of life, trying to share it with everybody. He's the happiest he's ever been, but also the most stressed he's been, but also figuring it out. That's a message for me in the future. That's the thing. This is our way. People always think like, "Oh, I want to communicate with past me." Like if you had the chance to communicate with past versions of yourself, would you do it? This is our way. In the future, like we can only remember how we really thought, like kind of try to remember who we were. But with YouTube and posting these videos and documenting my thoughts, it's almost like I'm communicating with myself, in the future. Like if I ever need to look back and I feel like I'm in a place where I'm lost or I'm forgetting, kind of like the story, the story of Zima Blue. Oh my God, it goes full fucking circle. The story, like he keeps going through these enhancements to the point where he doesn't even remember who he is or the simple things that he loves until he strips down all the things that he's learned to the simplest parts of you. And I feel like if there's ever a version of future me that's lost and feeling overwhelmed, he can look back and strip away all those years of learning things that's making him stressed out in the future. Strip it down to this moment in this video right here and be like, hey, you know what? Maybe it's not about thinking more to figure out who I am and figuring out life. Maybe it's about thinking less and going back and watching this video 10 years from now. I can see like maybe I can learn something, rediscover something. Remind myself of something, because we go through life and we go through shit and we go through a bunch of things. We have different conversations with so many people. We have different conversations with our parents, different conversations with our siblings, our friends, our family, our girlfriends, our boyfriends, whatever. And we're always changing, and forgetting. Not everyone's perfect. We can learn certain things, but we will forget without practice. And sometimes it takes looking back to remember the important lessons, to remember the important things in life. How many times in fucking movies are they like, oh man, you know what? I can't believe I forgot this is the way it should be. I can't believe I forgot. It's like It's like when a villain becomes a villain and they're like, you know what? I forgot the true meaning of what it's like to enjoy a fight. Yeah. I feel like, you know what I mean? Like in like in anime when they're all evil and shit, and then they start, the main character uses talk no jutsu, and they're like, "Hey, you don't have to do this. Shit is simpler than you think. It's all about the joy." And then the villain's starting to realize, you know what? Like I don't know why I'm even being evil, because what makes me happy is just fighting, and like something like that. You know what I mean? But it's like I said, the more we learn, the more our minds have a lot to think about, and we just get overwhelmed, and we don't know. It's hard to form like these solid ideas and solid beliefs that we have when we have so much going on in our lives and have so many voices in our head. That's why I always say the best form of noise canceling is to cancel out the noise. That's stupid. I don't I don't know why I said that. Like the best form of noise cancellation is when you take the headphones off. Yeah, that's what it was. But yeah, just we're there's just so much shit going on. Like even today, me personally, going into my personal life, today I wanted to make a video, right? And like I said, my whole thing recently is reducing friction, reducing pressure on where there doesn't need to be any. And I was like, yo, make a video. And I kept thinking, I kept rattling my brain. Maybe I could do it about this. Maybe I can cut up my episodes and kind of turn that into a video. And I just like couldn't. I was getting so overwhelmed with all the options that I had that I could do, and getting so overwhelmed with the time and what time it was. I'm like, I gotta shoot. So if the days like keeps going, an hour keeps going. There was like TV on, there was music on, people talking to me, and I'm like, I just need everything to be quiet. I needed to shut everything off so I could hear my own thoughts. And I feel like we get to that point pretty easily nowadays, and that's what gives us this anxiety, is that we start flooding our heads with just so much noise, and not even just practical noise like TV and music, and but like social media noise and the noise of doubt and thoughts. You know what I mean? Sometimes we just need to just shut everything off, completely quiet, and just think for a moment and just be in our heads. I started getting this idea for a video that I was going to do, actually. What I was writing that I couldn't really rack my brain around yet. It came to me when I was folding clothes earlier today, because I was just so overstimulated with noise. I was so overstimulated with social media and everything, and even for myself, I was so overstimulated with me trying to force a video out. I just chilled out, folded my clothes. And as I was folding my clothes, I started to kind of enter a state of meditation. You know, people say journaling, reading, and meditation is so beneficial for you, but what's the purpose of it? It's to clear your mind and listen to your thoughts. And not everybody is a writer. Not everybody likes to journal. Not everybody likes to just sit still and meditate. But something as simple as folding clothes can be that for you, can be the one that can clear your thoughts and give you the ability to listen to yourself, which is very important. And so I was sitting there folding my clothes, finally able to hear my thoughts. And I started to realize, you know what? Something as simple as folding a t-shirt well, putting it in a pile, is so calming, so therapeutic. And I started to think like, man, like this feels good. This feels like the right thing to do right now. We live in such a world of be productive every single hour of your day. Fuck that shit. Productivity comes in many ways. As long as you're working towards being better, that's productive enough for me. And folding those shirts, which is something I already needed to do, is a chore, felt so good, like each shirt that I folded, my mind kept going clearer and clearer, because I think that I started to strip away all of these things that I thought I needed to do. Like, oh, you need to throw a video today or else you're going to be irrelevant. You need to take You need to post on Instagram. You need to post on TikTok. You need to post on YouTube. Blah, blah, blah. Each one of those worries started to go away. Other worries in my personal life started to go away with every shirt, because the more I was focused on folding, the less I was focusing on these thoughts. And started to clear my head a lot. And I finally got to just listen to myself and listen to my thoughts and realize, you know what? Like, this is what I need to be doing right now. Folding clothes. And I'm just going to do that. And be okay with it. Be satisfied. Because it's something I needed to do anyway. And it's calming me down. You know? Sometimes what we think we need to be doing is not what we actually need to do. Sometimes what we want to do is not actually what we need to be doing. You know? Our brains, we're smarter than we think. Our bodies are smarter than we think. We're smarter than we think. Our bodies tell us what we really need. You know? It's all about listening to it. You know? Learning to listen to it. Learning to shut the noise off. Learning to accept what we're telling ourselves. You know? And it was at that moment where my body was telling itself, you just need to chill out. Fold these clothes. Simple. And that helped me actually, because like I said, I was really looking for a video idea. The whole day I was like, fuck, I need to do a video. Like, I don't know what to do. And that gave me the idea of folding your shirts can change your life. Maybe something as simple as folding a shirt can be productive. And so it really helped me give that idea. And now I started writing a script for it. So moral of the story, like, sometimes when we're looking for something, we're looking for this, let's say I'm looking for an idea. Sometimes it's not about, sorry, Coke Zero, making me burpy. Sometimes, like, when we're looking for something like a video idea, it's not like the best place to look isn't writing more, isn't watching more videos. Maybe it's from somewhere else, you know? And my videos, personally, I like to relate it just to my life and speaking about how I feel. And I think that taking a break from forcing myself and just feeling my emotions and listening to my thoughts, that became the catalyst of my idea and gave me more inspiration than forcing myself to write ideas and consuming content ever could. You know, people say consume content to create content. No. Live. If you want to be a content creator, if you want to be a filmmaker, a storyteller, you have to live. You have to live life to be able to tell the stories. And that low-key goes full circle with what I was saying, because, like I said, it strips down to the most basic ideas. But anyways, I feel like it's getting long. It's getting late. Thank you guys for listening to me just ramble about the same thing over and over again, low-key. This episode was a little deep, but I really enjoyed it. I really learned a lot from it as well. You know, I feel like when you talk to yourself and when you say things out loud, it's different than when you say it in your head. And as much as I feel like I've passed on to you, I feel like I've taught myself a lot as well. So thank you guys for watching this beautiful video. I'm going to end it here, but like, share, subscribe. Thank you for sharing your time with me once again. Peace out, everybody. Love y'all. I'll see you in the next one.